So one final thing to do before we finish our setup with the myfitnesspal app, and that is look at how you can add recipes. Most people will be cooking meals from scratch, and so instead of adding in the ingredients every single time you do it, the app has a method where you can create a recipe and then you can just search for that recipe every time you have it in your food. The best way to do it is by clicking more and then My Meals, Recipes and Foods. Click that tab. And here you are. So here's where you can create a recipe. You'll see the blue tab at the bottom. So if you click on that, you can do this manually, which is the very bottom option. So you click on that and then you give your recipe a name. So let's say we're going to have spaghetti bolognese. How many people does it serve? Well, depending on what recipe you're creating, you should have a fair idea of how many portions this makes. I'm going to put in 5 and then click the arrow at the top. And then we get the option to add ingredients. And just before with the diary, you can then search for foods. So you can say tinned tomatoes. There you go, and there's different options to choose from. Or as before, right down at the bottom, we've got the scan. And if you click that, then you have the option there to scan a barcode. So what you do is you add in the ingredients one by one. And then once you've created your recipe, you can select it in the part of your diary. Here, add food, recipes tab at the top. There you go. So any recipes you've created there will be in it and you can just select it from that. There is another way though to add a recipe, and this is particularly good if you enjoy cooking. So let's go back to Meals and Recipes tab. So under Create a Recipe down at the bottom, the top option there is Add from the Web. So if you're getting your recipe from a website, you just paste the URL that you've got the recipe from in the top. So here's one from earlier, BBC Food, and spaghetti bolognese. So let's try that one there, click. So then copy the web address at the top, and then go back into myfitnesspal, paste it in the top box, press go. There you go, and then import recipe at the bottom. And as if by magic, it brings in all the ingredients that you need for that recipe. Once you've done that, you press the arrow at the top, and it will attempt to match the ingredients in the recipe to the ones on its database. So you can see here it's matched most of them, with the exception of one at the top, which has the red wine or beef stock. If you click on that, then you can search from something in the suggested options list. So let's add that top one of red wine in, tick, and there we go. So that's all our things added on. So once you're happy with that, you can press the arrow at the top, and here we go. So you get a chance to name your recipe, and you get to see how many servings there's going to be, and then you see the nutrition facts per serving. So this is a horrifying 1,000 calories per serving. So you might look at that and say, well, that doesn't sound even remotely right. Let's go back and see why that could be the case. So click back again. Let's have a more in-depth look at the ingredients. So this is for the entire recipe. So right at the bottom here, we've already got the Parmesan cheese we're going to add on top and the spaghetti that we're going to add to it as well. So I'd probably suggest when you're choosing something like spaghetti bolognese to have the bolognese as a separate thing and then the spaghetti as something separate as well. Because it might be you don't have that type of spaghetti when you have it, or you're having courgette with it if you're watching your carbs, or some other option. So if you want to take out an ingredient, let's have a look at the spaghetti, you swipe to the left and then delete. And we'll do the same with our Parmesan cheese because we can add that on later. Delete. Click the arrow at the top, and then the calories per serving has now gone down to 556, which is much more reasonable. So doing that will give you an option to make the recipe that's more specific to what you're cooking. So similarly here, the beef mince, the one that they've got is Coles 2-star beef mince, whatever that might be. If you've bought yours from, say, Asda or Tesco or Aldi, it's probably a good idea to delete that one, and then you can add in your own one. By sliding down to the bottom, click add ingredient, and just as before, you can search for it or you can scan for it. Once you're happy with your recipe and you've named it, you can save it. And there we go, there it is, saved and ready to use. So when we go back into the diary now, click on add food, look on recipes, and there's the one we had earlier. So you can just click and add that with a tick. And there we go. So that's pretty much everything you need to set up MyFitnessPal. If you've been following this little series, now is the time to start using it every day. Just put in the food you're having, update the information that's specific for you in your weight loss or weight gain goals, and then we'll look at, in the future, how we can monitor your diary and how we can affect change a bit better. But this so far has covered all the things you need to know to get it up and running. So start doing it, and we'll see you again next time.